With that, we move on to the next pick for Simply 2 Based. You brought up the position 5 Witch Doctor for Empyrean. I tend to agree with that sentiment, John. I think the position 5 Witch Doctor on Empyrean is pretty darn good. And I would see them picking it up right here if they wanted to, and they do. There you go.
Yeah.
Well done, Jonathan.
No surprises. No surprises. Empyrean loves the hero. Gives you a lot of heal. The stun's annoying to deal with. And we've seen a lot of teams in NA and across the regions really go back to that Witch Doctor. Sometimes even rushing the Shard. I don't think it's a first rush item in most games, unless you're really that far ahead. But it has been impactful, and Empyrean's just delivered. So comfort picks all around for Simply 2 Based. Electronic Boys have to find their groove here. Probably looking at their own pause 4 now, unless they go Void Spirit 4, which is possibility for EB. I just don't reckon it's going to come out. I think you definitely prefer that Void down mid to hit its timings with the Yules and with the Ags as well. You just need that farm in the hero. Very hard to get that farm as a pause 4.
Electronic Boys now going for their third pickup. See what they do want. Whoops. This audio is way too high. The Jakiro comes out now. So, fair enough. That's a hero we don't get to see very often anymore, but I don't particularly mind it as a position 5. I think it does have its strengths. One of those position 5s as well where you can split push lanes very, very effectively using the Dual Breath and even the Macro Pyre. Obviously some really great team fight with the Ice Path, but Simply 2 Base, they go back into the PA now. And I do like that combo of Witch Doctor PA. I think that is very powerful in the laning stage. Very annoying as well, right? Because you get the Cask into the Melodict, into the Dagger, and suddenly you're probably just going to die. Mind you, we don't know what Electronic Boys are going to pick up for the offlane yet, but, you know, it's already looking like a pretty rough kind of offlane to have here for Electronic Boys.
Yeah, the PA, at worst case scenario, you can just stay back. Last hit with the dagger. Witch Doctor should be able to at least trade with the opposing support quite nicely. And you do have that offensive potential as well, as you mentioned. So really strong hero coming out from Simply 2 Based. Nice to see it again. I think you and I casting Southeast Asia, we see a lot more PA. Not so much in NA, but it's good to see the hero come out. Now we've got to see how 2 Based do play it. Electronic Boys go with the Underlord. So really good team fight overall. Jakir plus Underlord is actually a really painful combo. Even just Underlord plus Kotl going with the Illuminate Blast is really strong either way, with the Pit, with the Firestorm on top of it. So there's a lot here from Electronic Boys under offlane. It's a really stable off to have as well. Look for the Underlord to try to play maybe around shoving out waves and going for early sustain, early durability to stave off the damage from that OD in the PA.
You know, the thing is, though, with Electronic Boys, and I love the Underlord pick because it is one of those heroes that can kind of screw with the PA. But the thing is, you look at their support duo of Jakiro Kotl, and it just feels kind of weak, doesn't it? Like, you've got this amazing split push with these supports. Great high ground defense as well with these supports, but there's not much roaming potential. They are quite squishy, so assuming you see the PA jump on them, they are going to melt quite fast. And while I like the idea of a Kotl Underlord lane in the off lane, I just don't know whether it's going to pay off enough once we get into the mid to late game. I just can't see it being that effective, especially when you're up against a draft like this from 2 Based, where they are going to run at you. You know, you've got an Earth Spirit, you've got a Witch Doctor, you've got an OD. There's no real downtime. You could just start fighting pretty much 10 minutes into the game, maybe even earlier than that. And I just don't see these supports being able to survive through these team fights.
Yeah, they're really squishy. The Earth Spirit can abuse that by rolling right into the backline. Even a PA just has that capability to blink in, of course, and burst them down. The strength of the Electronic Boys is playing fast before BKBs come out. Like, the magic damage they do have on hand is really good. The issue is they don't have that leading stun as well, right? Like, nothing instantaneous to hold anyone down beyond Pit of Malice, which isn't amazing early on. So there's still ways for Simply 2 Base to kind of dance around that. Electronic Boys do tie up their draft with Naga Siren coming through. We saw them play against this yesterday.
They did.
They bring it out themselves, and this is the Underlord Naga combo, where if you have a bad time, you Song, you Dark Rift away, you're fine, and 2 Base go into the Timbersaw. So it's a mid OD coming out up against the Void Spirit. That should be an interesting time. Of course, the Timbersaw gives you even more mobility here from Simply 2 Based, and gives you a clear way of cutting through some Naga illusion. So there's a lot of back and forth here from these two drafts.
Yeah, I mean the Timber Saw pick is interesting as well because you are picking it into the Ensnare of the Naga. You've got the Pit of Malice there from the Underlord, so there are two heroes that can be annoying. But I do agree with the sentiment that you're coming up with here that it is still going to be a hero that probably will just dominate the Naga. Obviously, the Illusion Clear is going to be quite annoying for speed. As well as that, although you do have those disables available on the side of Electronic Boys, I just don't really see a way of getting through the raw HP and armor of this Timber Saw. Sure, you could expect Mio to maybe pick up a quick Spirit Vessel this game, which he will almost guaranteed need to. But after that, do you have the damage to deal with the Timber, even without that heal coming in? And the answer for me right now is just no. I don't think they do have the damage output to deal with the Timber this game. I think it was a very smart pick by Simply TOOBASED. And it kind of goes along with this very aggressive kind of lineup that they have. Mind you, John, this does put the OD mid, so we are going to have a bit of a switch up in terms of lanes, and Monkeys Forever should be going into the off lane. But they also could switch things up a bit and maybe put the Timber up against the Underlord in a 1v1 kind of offlane matchup, which would favor the Timber just based off the fact that he does have Whirling Death, and Underlord is a strength hero.
Yeah, they've got options to flux those lanes out if they want to. I don't think you really want the PA up against the Naga Siren early on, though. Like, once you get level 2, level 3, there is some potency to lock you in and try to dig through. PA is not particularly tanky in the laning phase, so that is something to watch out for if they do flex out. Still, we're seeing Z-Freak run up way early on. Does have an Obs Ward, wants to get a deep plant out. That should allow them some information early on. And some early tips already, both sides again in a good mood. I think TOOBASED probably feeling confident. Of course, it's NA Dota. Everyone's kind of knows each other in the scene, you know?
Yeah, nice small community. Reminds me of the Australian Dota scene. Very small, but everyone's kind of tight knit, and everyone likes to have a bit of back and forth in terms of trash talk with each other. Always a bit of fun. So we do see top lane Speed. He's scouting out with the illusions now, just trying to see what's going on around here. Should have seen Monkeys Forever and Z-Freak waiting for him behind the tree line, so he's not going to move away from that tier 1 tower. And at best, he might be able to deny a bounty rune, but no, the illusions are going to wear off in time anyway. Should mention as well, John, Z-Freak, he got a very deep Observer Ward in the dire jungle. I think we can expect Z-Freak to be hunting down quite a few couriers up at this top lane.
Yeah, that's going to give them a nice little gold boost and slow down Speed's acquisition of items if he's not careful. So, got to watch the control on that courier. And, of course, it gives him an opportunity, if they ever feel the need to just pull the wave behind to get some EXP out for Z-Freak as well.
Z-Freak puts a rock in front of Speed. Speed will just accept the fact that there's a rock in his lane now for no reason. The mental warfare already beginning here between TOOBASED and Electronic Boys. And so we do have the dual lineup of Monkeys Forever and Z-Freak up at that top lane, up against Speed on the Naga. Of course, Albino Zebra is going to be there on the Jakiro. And there should be a decent enough lane for the Jakiro. I can't really see him dying too much. But I just don't really see them being able to slow down Monkeys either.
No, I mean, they do have some good magic damage from Albino Zebra. He's going to have to keep trying to get some early damage onto Monkeys before reactive starts to kick in. And level 1, level 2 is probably the weakest point for the Timber. Level 3 is when it really starts to kick into gear. So we need to see some of that commitment out. And Albino Zebra is ready to just spam his spells. Has 3 mangoes on hand. Is going to have to chase down Z-Freak because he is getting that pull off. And there's really not much you can do about this. This way, of course, your Timber Saw and your Earth Spirit do get some good EXP in the lane.
Yeah, this is a very smart play here from Z-Freak, because he's going to deny the full wave off of Speed, gets the deny on the range creep as well, forces Albino Zebra to split up from his carry, and of course Monkeys Forever does have the advantage in a 1v1, and as you can see now, the lane equilibrium is going to go the way of TOOBASED. This is one way to just dominate the lane and get those levels up ASAP, but Boris kind of fell asleep there, and well, he sent his courier to the secret shop, but unfortunately he does get sniped by Albino Zebra. So a bit unfortunate there from the side of TOOBASED, but apart from that, this top lane is already looking very dominant for this Radiant side, and Z-Freak, he loses his own courier, but he just doesn't really mind. He's just playing games here with the Jakiro.
That is a lot of early damage coming out from Albino Zebra, though, but doesn't matter. He did have to pop a Mango for that, so overall, you are wasting some of the resources. Still gives us a chance to look around the other lanes. Down mid, you do have Mio on his Void Spirit, up against I Annihilate on the mid OD, and so far looking really even on the board right now. 10-3 for Mio, 10-1 for I Annihilate, so neither side really getting too much of an edge. There's a slight EXP lead for I Annihilate, but Creep Wave is coming in. Mio should be able to catch up. Power Rune's going to be important for both sides. I'd argue a bit more important for Mio. He does have slightly more mobility on hand that he can abuse with a good Power Rune, so going to have to watch that control down the line and see if those supports can come out in a timely manner.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly going to be necessary for Mio to make sure those Power Runes go his way. TOOBASED probably just going to be interested in trying to deny them away from the Void Spirit if they can afford to. Of course, the bot lane as well. We'll have a look at the final lane. It's going to be double A there, with his Underlord being played by Giant, up against Empyrean and Boris on the PA and the Witch Doctor. There's a nice large camp pull there by double A, and Empyrean actually misses out. I thought he might get the pull away, but he doesn't quite, and now they're going to try and make the jump onto Giant. I don't believe they'll have quite enough damage. Giant will end up surviving just fine. Looks like the lane is going to push in the die away anyway. Boris will go ahead and just start farming the large camp for himself. As a nice clarity cancel there from our Coddle. That does kind of give an indication, though, that there is some kind of vision around here, keeping eyes on the Witch Doctor. In reality, though, he actually did that kind of blind. With the creeps, I guess.
Yeah. It's just a good waste of regen here on the side of Eboys. Unfortunately, they couldn't get supports down mid, and look at this Z-Freak ready.
Yeah, nice roll in, Mio. He doesn't have Astral Steps up yet, and he really has no way out of this. He's just got no mana. I Annihilate, another Arcane Orb. Mio gets enough to dissimulate up to the high ground, but Z-Freak has a Haze Rune and has a roll in 1 second, and he just needs to land this roll, and he will. Perfectly placed by Z-Freak. The first blood does go to the Earth Spirit. And I'll tell you what, John, there is no greater feeling than getting first blood on Earth Spirit. His bot lane.
It's a really...
Boris, he was falling very low, but Giant has Melodict on top of him. He's not going to die. It's a Firestorm off. Double A going to go for the Illuminate play, but he is just going to completely whiff. Everyone is going to end up surviving in the end.
Yeah, I love that Empyrean had, like... He had, like, 2 salves on hand. He just wants to keep Boris alive. They understand how much damage is flying in. Unfortunately, Boris is just copying way too much damage. Has his Ring of Health in, so he can kind of passively regen by his tier 1. But you are seeing the game plan here coming out from Eboys, just constantly shoving in that wave, playing with their magic damage. It's not quite slowing Boris down, but Giant is off to a fairly good start in terms of his own last hits. So you are finding farm in this offlane at the least for the side of Eboys.
Z-Freak top lane. He's just being so annoying. Running around, being disruptive towards the side of Eboys. And now they've got a push going on this top tier 1 tower. The Siege Creep is there as well, so if they can get this push continuing, could be quite devastating here. Z-Freak gonna roll away in time as Monkeys Forever will hold down the line. There are Tranquils available on the Earth Spirit right now, so you can just stick around as Monkeys will just keep going onto speed and Albino Zebra. They have lost their Siege Creep though, so the push does stop. They won't mind too much. They got quite a bit of damage on that tier 1 tower, and now Empyrean's around. They might make the jump back in onto this Naga Siren. And now they will. The cast will come out with the Melodict. Z-Freak not rolling in yet, but does go for the Boulder Smash first. Here come the TPs though. Mio, he'll rotate in on the Void Spirit. Straight onto Empyrean, and that Witch Doctor might just be dead as he tries to Fairy Fire up, but it is not going to be enough with the double damage rune of Mio.
Yeah, it's a solid pickup for Mio. Not the biggest kill to gain, but it relieves some pressure off of speed. So that is what you want. You want your Naga to have a free ride here. Speed is saving up for a Midas again. Trying to he's just been consistent with the Midas pickups, and it could pay off. That does mean that even when he has that Midas, he's going to have to sit back, get some farm, get some EXP up, and it's going to be down to the rest of Eboys to make sure that buyout does pay off.
I must have missed a Game Leap video, John. I haven't seen a video about him talking about how broken Midas is recently. So maybe I just missed out. I'll have a look tonight. See if there is one about how broken Midases are. But I'll tell you what, it hasn't looked great with these Midas pickups from the recent games we've been casting. See if you can make it work this time around. Top lane, Monkeys, just having the freest lane of his life on this Timber. Completely uncontested now. The Albino Zebra really can't do much by himself. Speed, he's just given up on this lane. He's more than happy to just rotate into the jungle now that he does have his treads up. He'll probably make his way slowly but surely over to the Dire Triangle. Probably just stick around there for a while. Just keep doing Naga Siren things and farming up. Meanwhile, mid, however, Mio. Meteor Hammer did connect, but he has Astral Step charges. He got a Power Rune as well. That's a nice dodge on the Sanity's Eclipse. What a dodge coming out from Mio. The balls on this man to not just Astral Step away or dissimulate. The Z-Freak, he's going to run right into him. Maybe he could be in a bit of danger now, but Speed, he doesn't have the Ensnare yet. Z-Freak's still going to get blocked with the roll. Annihilate around, but doesn't go for the Astral onto Z-Freak, but rather Mio. And Mio's going to be able to just dissimulate away, as now Annihilate going to have to just TP out. And does do so.
Whew. Mio just dancing around there with the Void Spirit. Really good plays coming out on the edge and finds a pickup for himself. You are still seeing Annihilate be a problem. He's slightly ahead in farm. With a Meteor Hammer, he can also apply that pressure down the mid-tier 1, so that's something Eboys will have to be ready to counteract now. They are clumping down bot, though, looking like they want to make a move on Boris.
Well, they have a very strong draft like that. If they can just clump around the Underlord, it is very hard for them to contest this push that is coming in. So you do have Z-Freak who's TP'd down to try and help out, but I just don't see them being able to take this team fight. It's Giant, he drops the Pit of Malice and Z-Freak starts moving up towards the north. We'll spot out a couple. Looks like they are just going to slowly but surely continue this push down to the bot lane. I suppose on the brighter side, Monkeys Forever has already gotten the top tier 1 tower, so trading this bottom tier 1, not going to be that big of a deal in the end.
No, definitely not. He's also getting some decent chip damage on the tier 2 with 4 range creeps, so a decent amount of damage early on in tier 2 from Monkeys. He's already scouting around the top jungle as well. So that bot tier 1 not giving as much as you'd want on Eboys. They rotated 4 heroes for that. They had Mio hanging around as well. You don't really find a pickup that they'd want. Not the best use of time, and now Annihilate's going to go hunting a bit.
Right, they wanted to try and contest the bottom Power Rune. It ends up spawning up top anyway, and that is going to be an Invis Rune that somebody on TOOBASED can pick up, and might just be Z-Freak on the Earth Spirit taking it for himself. Interesting to note as well, Empyrean ended up buying the Tomb, so it looks like they want to really prioritize him getting the Death Ward up, rather than Z-Freak getting the Magnetize up. Really wanted that Witch Doctor level 6 over the Earth Spirit.
Yeah, I think that's actually fair. Witch Doctor's spike is much earlier on. You know, the Death Ward is only effective for so long, so you'd want to have it as early as possible, and looks like they might want to do something about AA, but Z-Freak.
Yep, there's the Boulder Smash. He has the roll ready whenever, and AA is going to get stunned up. And Monkey should have plenty of damage output to finish this one off, and does. Nice little pick up there, thanks to Z-Freak. Really no help coming in either. The poor Keeper of the Light just kind of had to tank it. I'm not sure if this really favors the side of Eboys. I mean, they're holding the net worth lead right now at 2k. Speed did just pick up that Midas and currently is pretty much uncontested on the Naga. So I suppose for Eboys, things are going pretty well. But we are getting around that point where simply TOOBASED, they tend to group up and start making some very aggressive plays. I'd say maybe a couple minutes away now from them trying for that mid-tier 1 tower. Maybe even earlier, as Monkeys Forever does show his face. Yeah, this is definitely going to be the group up now in that mid lane.
Yeah, they're going to be looking for that objective. You do have the heroes on hand here from TOOBASED. They've clumped up 4 heroes of their own. They want to take out this mid-tier 1 to get that control in the jungle, prevent Speed from farming up here. Meteor
Hammer going to be cancelled off by Annihilate. Mio was posturing aggressively. Trying to go on to Mio, but he has plenty of ways to get out of this. We'll just assimilate. Mio also very close to having the full Spirit Vessel now. will need it to deal with monkeys. Looks like he probably won't have it up in time to defend this tier 1 tower, though. So they are going to just have to rely on this Firestorm to just take down the creep wave over and over again. Monkeys diving behind the tier 1. It's going to be able to back off with the creep wave. Meteor Hammer, of course, once again available from Annihilate, but a nice ice path out from Albino Zebra. Just isn't going to lead to much, though. Monkeys is still just way too tanky.
Yeah, and they are still trying to apply that pressure. It is keeping these two heroes down mid, so you can see both pause. One's getting some space to farm up. Boris left alone down bot to just clear out the waves, get some easy farm into the Battle of Fury. And of course, Speed has been spending his time in the jungle since picking up that Midas, since leaving top lane, although...
Oh, mid lane, they got monkeys! That the Firestorm plus the Macro and Jewel Breath was more than enough magic damage to kill off the Timber. He doesn't have a Hood of Defiance or anything like that, so all that magic damage was just 100% effective on the Timber. Definitely a nice play there from Eboys. Still buying a lot more time.
That's what they need to do. They need to abuse this Timbersaw while he isn't exactly too tanky. Like, we are seeing monkeys go for the Yules, probably just to dispel perhaps that Spirit Vessel down the line, which was seen on Mio as a build-up. So even that Spirit Vessel, once it comes out, you have to be wary of when monkeys does get the Yules off. And of course, with the Yules, you can kind of Yules chain yourself out to safety. So you do have those options on hand. Up top, though.
And Double A being caught out. Silence is there as well, and with the Death Ward, Empyrean is going to be able to clean him up nice and easy. Neo tried to make the rotation in time, but ultimately is forced to back off into his jungle. See, once again, Simply TOOBASED starting to group up. This time around Boris. But they're going to just let the PA be for now. No need to get Boris involved. Just want to keep forcing in some objectives. With this Meteor Hammer OD, you can just keep doing this. Neo, Aether Remnant, gonna lock on, but Annihilate already got the Meteor Hammer off. Slowly but surely, that tower is just gonna tick down.
Yeah, and there's not too much the Eboys can do about that unless they fully commit onto Annihilate. That Yules we were talking about in Monkeys is ready, and he's going to be playing on the opposing lane again, just doing Timbersaw things, maybe force a reaction out, or at least get the tier 1 while the tier 2 is under pressure. So this is basically the timing you're looking for on the Timbersaw. Is going to go for the Lotus Orb next, just another way of purging off some of that control, some of those debuffs. And once you have that on Monkeys, I think you're going to have a hard time pegging him down, even with a Spirit Vessel on hand.
Yeah, I think this is the right build-up here from Monkeys, because there's just so many things to purge off. You kind of assume straight off the bat that Mio is going to rush into the Aghanim Scepter after the Spirit Vessel as well, so just having a way to purge that silence is going to be quite nice for him and his team. As well as things like the Ensnare from Speed, all the slows out from the Jakiro. Actually a hell of a lot to deal with this Lotus and Yules. But he might be in trouble now, as they do have 4 heroes down to that bot lane, but they are going to group up. Z-Freak, a massive magnetize into a 4-man silence. Is it going to be enough, though? They'll get Albino Zebra and Monkeys. He's able to walk away. Instead, they'll go after Empyrean, and they do get the Witch Doctor. But for now, that's going to be it, as Z-Freak will continue just silencing up the whole side of Electronic Boys. It's definitely not really the trade they would have liked for all those heroes rotating. They'll have to take it.
Yeah, they lose their mid-tier 1 because of that movement out, and you are still seeing that consistent pressure from Annihilate up top while they move to defend that bot tier 1. So probably not the best objective to take a fight under, and maybe a bit optimistic to try to take the Timbersaw on. He's still a tanky hero. He's got the Yules on hand. I figured Annihilate would have been an easier target once he was left alone, but looks like they're just going for what they know is solo right now. So they just assumed the Timbersaw would be way too far out to not get any saves. Not quite how it worked out, though. And again, you're seeing the farm build-up here from both pause once being used up by the space. The lead Speed had is not as big as it was a while ago. It's still 1.2 above Boris right now, right around that area. And Boris, of course, with a Battle Fury, should be able to catch up to that Naga Siren soon. So Speed's going to have to hit some timings here. The Manta is almost done. Once you've got that in Speed, he does have options to start fighting or at least split pushing a bit better. I'm not sure if he's going to want to rush a butterfly this game. PAs don't tend to enjoy MKBs, but you know, if it's necessary, then you can certainly just go for that and still rip through the Naga Siren anyway.
Yeah, I don't think the butterfly is going to be the pickup here for the Naga. It looks like one of those games where they could just deal with the Naga Siren without the butterfly anyway. Like, you could just Astral the Naga every single time and just wipe out everybody else first if you need to. I think the butterfly probably not going to be the objective here from Speed, but only time will tell. We'll see very soon. Meanwhile, TOOBASED going into Mio. Z-Freak getting a massive silence off. Mio, he's in big trouble. He'll dissimulate away, but he's gone to the low ground where they do find Empyrean, and Mio is going to die. Now the macro to be dropped. Empyrean does go down, but they got a massive pick off onto the Void Spirit. So well worth it for the side of simply TOOBASED. And while that's happening, Speed is being chased down by Monkeys Forever. Looks like Speed kind of got the message there that he's not welcome down at this bot lane.
Yeah, it's really just not a hero that Naga wants to deal with right now, and this will allow Monkeys Forever to really shove in that bot tier 1. It's down to 200 HP, 282 HP. Should be easy enough for the Timbersaw to clean up afterwards, and that just kind of opens up all these tier 1, so easier access into jungle is going to be achieved for TOOBASED. They're going to keep that roaming aggression up. It has been paying off. Like, Mio's been kept down a bunch. After that Spirit Vessel pickup, he's still trying to save up for the Ags. Not a single item picked up for the Ags just yet. So that progression into the AoE silence is going to be really important here for Eboys to really find a way to take control in these fights. Like, once that silence is up, Mio's going to be a beast. But before then, it's not going to be as clear-cut for the side of Eboys. And in fact, even that timing into the Ags might just line up with a BKB timing down the line, although not quite seeing that lined up yet, but certainly a possibility here for the side of TOOBASED.
I mean, you are still going to have the Lotus Orb as well from Monkeys Forever to purge off the silence, which is still going to hurt Mio, even if there isn't a BKB available on the PA. Still double A, he does get his Aghanim Scepter up on the Keeper of the Light now, so you've got something going for you, but the Deso is going to be there for Boris. That's going to mean a lot of damage output and a pretty big power spike for the PA as now they go onto Giant. Mio's going to jump in onto Monkeys, but he's got that Lotus. That's going to keep him fairly safe here. He can just continue to hold the line down. Meanwhile, Z-Freak going to find Albino Zebra and gets a nice silence off. Gets the Veil as well into the Astral and I Annihilate. He does get the Meteor Hammer cancelled. The roll-in won't be successful either as Boris now being caught out with the Lotus Orb. Again going to save the day.
Ooh.
Onto the Void Spirit. Mio, he is just going to melt. And now Boris jumps in onto double A. Can they get him out? They barely get him out in time. But it won't matter. A great team fight out for simply TOOBASED. They just can't kill anyone, John.
No, it's really difficult. That was a fairly awkward fight for TOOBASED to take. Like, they were just kind of responding to our Jakiro down low ground, picking up the Invis. This does buy some space out for Speed, but again, you're dropping Mio, you're stalling out the Ags timing on your Void Spirit. And speaking of Mio, he's stuck at level 11. Compare that to I Annihilate at 14. That's a huge disparity between these mids. They need the Void Spirit to really get a little bit more, and he had to buy the Tome out just to get some EXP going his way.
I mean, you're talking about comparing it to the OD. Monkeys is at level 15, John, on the Timber. The XP advantage is going to be a real problem here, but they do at least catch out the Wick Doctor in their dire jungle. They will take him down. In fact, Boris is level 16 on the PA. My goodness. Boris, he's going to back off for a bit. It looks like he probably will go after a BKB next. Pretty standard build-up, but he hasn't queued it up yet. He might be thinking about maybe going for a quick Abyssal Rush. Though I would argue the BKB is definitely the smarter route to go right now.
Yeah, I think the one thing we need to see from the side of Eboys as well is when they start to play around as Naga, it looks like they're going to wait for Speed to build up the Scotty first, which is, you know, about 1,000 gold away, so not too far off. But we need to see the combination with the song set up into the pit, into the macro pyre, into your coddle spells, and just get the damage off. they don't want to stall out the magic damage fights too
Z-Freak.
long. Again, BKBs are going to be up soon.
The fact that Z-Freak has been in this dire jungle, running circles around Eboys for like half this game now, he can't be allowed to do. Look at it, he's just jumping in by himself. He's just causing problems. Magnetizer's there. Monkey's forever now, just going to collapse onto Albino Zebra. He's gone. You can't let Z-Freak do it like that.
Oh boy.
He's literally just running around in circles in the dire jungle.
I mean, he did have a haste, and there's no instantaneous way of locking him down on these supports. I guess he did have the slowdown, but...
Mio, Meteor Hammer is going to land, and now Boris jumps in, but no lucky crits coming out. Dark Rift immediately being popped. I Annihilate. He has the Astral, but it's going to do nothing up against the Underlord. Monkeys, he's going to try and chase down as now Z-Freak gets a stun off onto the Keeper of the Light, and Double A really has nowhere to go. Apart from down. That'll be the mid-tier 1 tower being set up upon by TOOBASED.
Yeah, it's really early to take that mid-tier 2, just about 23 minutes in, but they do get pushed back by the Fortify, so there's some breathing room here out for Electronic Boys. They do have the Scotty up now on speed, so they've got some options in the Naga. That net worth lead you've seen on speed still standing at about 2-3k gold. Still a lot to play with, and they want to reveal this in a big way. They do smoke up as 4.
I don't know about this. I mean, we talk about this Naga Siren all the time, John, and it's almost like an alchemist. You need to have a pretty big lead as Empyrean. Great positioning to break the smoke. He knew exactly where they were coming from, and he breaks the smoke immediately, but now the Roshan is going to be countered here by Eboys. They tried to make the jump onto Boris. Pit of Malice now being dropped. A lot of damage, but the song is going to be there from speed. Into an Ice Path, perhaps. Macropire, Ice Path is there. It's all perfectly lined up, and they do get Boris on the PA, but can they deal with Monkeys forever? He's still a tanky target, but they're going to chase him down and try. The fight will continue. A great Pillar Malice there from Giant into the Ice Path and the Will-O-Wisp, but where's your damage? Well, speed is here, taking down one more. Albino Zebra, however, also going down, but now they found the OD. I Annihilate, being surrounded by speed, but a nice blink away. He's going to be alright. However, Monkeys, he's going to be fine too. He'll chain up to the high ground. And they're trying to buy time for Boris to respawn up so they can contest this Roshan once again. Empyrean going to buy more time, but he is going to go down. Meanwhile, Mio goes down to I Annihilate in the backlines. And at this point, I don't think they can take the Roshan like this. They're going to buy back. They are committed. Mio going to make his way back over. But Boris is back up in 5, and Z-Freak is back up. He's TPing in right now to the outpost, but the Roshan is going to go down speed. He picks up the Aegis. Meteor Hammer is going to be there onto Giant, but the jump in from Mio into the Macropire. I Annihilate, trying to run, but he cannot. He does go down, but here comes Z-Freak. Straight onto Giant, does take down the Underlord, and now... Well, Boris, he's waiting on the high ground, but he's going to Blink Strike down to the low ground instead. Not willing to make the jump in onto Speed's Naga Siren. And after all that, Eboys, they do manage to get the Aegis their way. However, the net worth lead has switched over to the side of Simply TOOBASED.
Yeah, it was a bit costly for Eboys to get that out. The buyback on Mio definitely being the biggest commitment. Again, setting back that Ag's timing on our Void Spirit. So still not a single part bought out by Mio. Gonna be a while more until you really see that item start to line up. However, you are seeing speed really be big now. We're gonna need to see the BKBs coming out soon from the side of TOOBASED, but Boris is only a recipe away. So it's gonna be up soon enough, and all that magic damage you were seeing earlier on caused issues. Not gonna be an issue for too long once that spell immunity's in play here.
Another group up here from Simply TOOBASED in the mid lane. They have the Blink initiation from I Annihilate if they need to, but he's going to head down towards the bot lane. So they're more than happy to just get a bit more farm going for themselves, as the Monkeys is going to have the Guardian Greaves up relatively soon. Of course, the BKB just a couple hundred gold away now for Boris. Some pretty big power spikes coming for TOOBASED. Meanwhile, Speed, he did go back for the Butterfly now, which You know, obviously seeing how that last team fight went, he's feeling quite confident with himself. Butterfly should pay off dividends. Now that he does have the Eye of Skadi. Z-Freak in a bit of danger, gets snared up into the silence, and he is definitely going to die. They should be very well aware that there are wards on that high ground now, and you know, Albino Zebra, he's going to go sort it out.
Yeah, that kill also gives Speed the full gold to buy out his Butterfly. So it's in play. Another major spike for Naga Siren. All they need to do is make use of it. They've got Aegis running for about three and a half more minutes. They do smoke up. They're going to try to find something with his fresh pickup again on Speed.
Well, use the Midas that may give away the smoke. Looks like it has not, but Empyrean, again, nice positioning to break the smoke of Mio. So we're going to hang around in that mid lane. Trying to bait with somebody. Annihilate. Aether Remnant is going to lock him down. He's in big trouble, but he gets an Astral off. They drop everything onto this OD, but he just pops his BKB and turns back around. He wants to go for the team fight. Speed, however, with the song just making it so he's the only one fighting. And Annihilate, he's going to go down. The BKB works against him. Onto Monkeys forever now. They want that Timber Sword dead. In fact, no, they'll go after Empyrean first, and that Witch Doctor is going to go down onto the Timber. In fact, no, they want Boris on the PA. Speed connects with the Ensnare, forcing the BKB out, and Boris is going to have to use that charge to just TP away as Z-Freak goes back in, trying to get a pick-off onto Albino Zebra, but this may just cost him his life, and it looks like it will, though no, a nice roll away is barely going to get him out, but the Aether Remnant is not going to lock him down. Very close calls there for Z-Freak, but for Electronic Boys, they are looking good in this game number 1, taking the net worth lead back their way. Finally starting to take some objectives on this map.
Yeah, this is huge for the side of Eboys. Taking that tier 2, opening up more options to take over this bot jungle if they wanted to. Speed is looking very hard to control. They need to be safer with those BKBs. They have to watch and wait for the song and perhaps just pop it after the song. Or, you know, if they do pop it during song, ensure that you're not going to be run down by 4 or 5 heroes all at the same time. The side of TOOBASED right now, I mean, they're still not falling too far behind. It's a 2k lead for Eboys, but Speed is now like 7k ahead of the biggest farm hero on the side of TOOBASED. So it's a huge lead now on Speed. The investment in Naga Siren is finally paying off. You're seeing more items fly out here for Eboys as well. Atos up on Giant. So you've got the Pit of Malice Atos combination just to hold people down. And that should make easy work of the supports in particular here from the side of TOOBASED. So
yeah,
just
John,
a lot more going on here. Yeah.
Speed forgot the Orb of Destruction in a neutral camp. He's it's down towards the south near the Radiant tier 2 tower, the bot lane, which isn't there any longer. I think he was microing his illusions, and he's just completely forgotten it. That's a bit of a shame. Ooh. And, you know, if TOOBASED find it, in fact, Boris already has one, so he won't need it, but...
Oh, Mio came back.
All right, Mio found it. Like, what are you idiots doing? Why is there an item on the ground? Here you go. Mio knows what he's up to. He gets it done.
Yeah, he saves the day. Still... Oh, Aeon Disc just revealed in AA.
There it goes. Straight onto cooldown. Monkey's now seeing that, wants to make the jump in, and a nice blink strike in from Boris. AA has no way out. He does commit the ulti for this, but it is not going to help his cause. Does end up going down. It looks like TOOBASED, they want to slowly start setting up for that mid tier 2 tower. But now, however, it's back to farming. Boris, he's just trying to get towards an Abyssal Blade on that PA. And it does look like one of those games, John, where Boris is probably going to have to commit to a Divine Rapier later on, considering you do have the evasion now on the Naga. Of course, MKB, just kind of pointless on the PA. You may as well just go all in if you're gonna. Just get that Divine Rapier.
Yeah, it could be an option. I just worry about how squishy Boris is outside of the BKB. Like, once that BKB fades, Boris is not going to have a lot of options in staying alive, and we've seen the situation before, like Eboys.
He's being chased down. He's still very, very tanky and does have the Yule Scepter available to him. He will commit now as we do see the roll in and the Magnetize out from Z-Freak, but he gets bursted down. A great sanities, but speed. Gets the song off. Albino looking for an Ice Path, does connect onto 2 with the Pit of Malice once again. They'll kill off Empyrean. The buyback is going to be there. Mio, he actually ends up going down to Annihilate. Now Boris going to join in. They want to take down that Keeper of the Light. Double A being chased down as Annihilate again finding another in the form of Albino Zebra, but Speed does finally burst him down. Onto Giant they go, but Boris, does he have the damage output? It looks like he does with Monkeys Forever, and now Speed all by himself trying to fight this one out. He can't really hit the PA though. It's a bit of a problem here for Speed. They are just going to man fight, but it looks like the Naga is going to lose in the end with a nice crit out from Boris. And Giant, he just bought back, but Boris wants to die back immediately. Giant trying to fight back. Some nice damage there with the Firestorm, but Empyrean is going to heal him up. Does have the Paladin Sword anyway. Now team fight, it looked pretty bad for Simply TOOBASED at the start, but eventually they do take over, and oh Giant, that was a greedy play. He made his position very well known with that Firestorm, and he just bought back. He gave away the dieback for the sake of trying to protect that tier 2 bot tower, but it's definitely a bit greedy.
All right, it's really greedy out there. That means no Underlord for about a minute 20. That's going to be costly for the high ground defense. They rely so much on that Pit of Malice for control. And Z-Freak?
Yeah, I mean, he just rolls straight into the base.
Oh,
There goes that Aeon Disc again, Boris. He loses his courier in the process, so Basher is now down for 3.5 minutes, but you know, with the Underlord dieback, I just don't think they care. There's Albino Zebra. Gonna be chased down a bit by Monkeys. Tier 3 bot tower does drop. And it looks like they aren't going to push anything too far as Speed is respawning on the Naga. They're just going to take the victory and back off. Maybe just wait out that courier respawn before they do go back in.
yeah, it's going to be a lot of time for that courier, though. Again, 3 minutes is just a heck lot of time for Eboys to kind of try to regroup, try to get some more farm up, maybe get 1 or 2 items up before the next engagement. We are seeing Speed queue up the MKB, but I think that's going to have to come after the Abyssal. You don't want to stop at just the Basher right now. So it's still a little bit more until the MKB comes out. Once you do have that in the Naga, you're not going to have those evasion issues, although the positioning here from TOOBASED, they want to go.
Boris has got a double damage, John. Boris has a DD rune on the PA, but oh, Z-Freak gets bursted way too quick, and now Empyrean is probably going to die. They'll spot out Boris with that DD, but they don't seem to care. They'll just keep moving onto the Witch Doctor. The Monkeys is going to block the way, not allow them to have their way with his position 5. Apart from Z-Freak, they get everyone else out. It's a cute little bait play there from Speed in the mid lane.
Yeah, just gives him a freebie kill on Z-Freak, and also gives him the Abyssal now. So you do have that instant stun out for Speed. Another smoke coming out from Eboys to play around with this item timing. And unfortunately for TOOBASED, Boris still has to wait 2 minutes here until he can get his own items up. So it's going to be a enough time to just keep finding these kills.
Empyrean, oh, that's a nice little juke out. I'm not sure if he's going to make it, though. He'll try, but Mio is on the case. He will eventually just... Oh, maybe not. The Essence Ring. And the Guardian Greaves Monkeys mean Empyrean does walk away from this. And they might just turn this. Speed, he's out of position. Boris, he's going to make the jump in now, but the song is going to be committed. Meanwhile, Annihilate with the BKB Meteor Hammer straight onto Mio's head. They're going to try and go onto the OD instead, but he does have the support in the backlines. Is Albino going to get jumped, but Annihilate is going to die straight off the bat. Now Boris looking to jump in onto Double A, but the Aeon Disc is going to protect for now with the Glimmer Cape. He's just going to make a run for it as Eboys go back onto Z-Freak. They want this Earth Spirit gone, and they might just get him as Empyrean now with the Death Watch. Just going to channel it all the way, but needs to walk away. So E-Boys know exactly where he is. It's going to be just fine. E-Boy, they do win out that team fight. They could aim for the Roshan play if they so wish.
That's going to be a big objective for them to take. Aegis and Cheese ready to go. and you don't have the best options to approach this right now for the side of TOOBASED. They're still waiting for that query to be up. Half a minute left. Boris is going to have his Ags up, and I believe his Basher up by the time that's up, so that's going to be a lot more damage, a lot more sustain, and stats at least for the PA once that's up. But the Roche, it's not fast enough, it feels like.
And Monkeys Forever, he just got to shift his guard up, so he's going to be able to slow them down quite a bit. Still, Ensnare is there from speed, but Monkeys with the Lotus Orb able to walk away a bit. Mio got to be careful as he does get jumped on by Boris, but a nice Ice Path is going to protect him from the damage up at his speed. Does jump in. Boris forced the BKB up, still going onto the backlines, but nobody is dying. This PA is just getting kited around right now. Speed, meanwhile, with the song, is going to be able to just commit and maybe get away. Z-Freak tried to roll in, but could not get there with the song going. Giant is also going to be able to Dark Rift away. However, they have left the Roshan. So TOOBASED not really going to lose out. If they get this Aegis, it's well worth it for their time. And it is going to go down. Silence from Z-Freak. He's going to make sure the jump in from Mio is not going to be there. And now they want to get this team fight started. A great Pit of Malice out from Giant on the Underlord. And a nice path onto 3 heroes from Albino Zebra. But he is still in danger. The roll is going to connect from Z-Freak. And at least he's going to die. 7k net worth lead now for the side of TOOBASED.
Oh man, it's just a constant back and forth between Eboys and TOOBASED. I like what Eboys were doing. They knew they had a huge window with the items being stalled out from Boris. Unfortunately, they just couldn't take that Roche fast enough. Like, the damage wasn't really flying out from your Naga, not in the same way it flies out from PAOD, and it just doesn't come up. You're gonna see some big issues now as Boris starts to finish some key items. The Abyssal is flying in, and it does get assembled. Boris is going to be able to now just instantly stun up anyone he wants in the middle of these fights, on top of having that Ags running as well for the Dispel. You have a lot of options here for TOOBASED to start, whereas we're still waiting for Speed to finish up his MKB. The Abyssal is nice, but you really need the MKB to rip through that PA. She is just way too evasive with her talents, and I love this. Boris went for the 35 evasion talent as well. That's why it's so hard to just right-click him down.
That is true. It won't be soon for Speed. As he has that MKB up, he's going to be able to actually hit the PA, and things might turn a little bit for Eboys. I have to say as well, this is probably one of the better performances we've seen from this Dire side throughout their series over the group stages as Monkeys. They get jumped. Lotus Orb going to be returned, but he is still in a bit of danger. Still trying to run away, but now the surround is there. Nice pickup from Electronic Boys. Z-Freak was walking down the river to try and help him out, but ultimately will have to roll back the other way. But Boris again gets a DD room. He does still have that Aegis, and he has the new Aghanim Scepter and Abyssal Blade. But he's not going to try and make the play without Monkeys Forever.
Nah, they need that frontliner to just throw their body out and kind of cop a lot of those spells. Without the Timbersaw, you're maybe looking at either Z-Freak tanking it, which means he just dies in a snap, or I Annihilate tanking it and you lose out on a lot of damage. So they have to wait for that Tim to really be comfy. They do have a Hex up now as well on I Annihilate though, so they've got additional control coming in here for the side of TOOBASED as they keep widening that lead. 10k up now on the side of TOOBASED. That's with your Naga Siren on Eboy's side at 28k net worth, 2k above the PA. It's just that 2k at this point in the game is not much. It's not even a full item already.
Smoke on smoke, John, but they have the high ground advantages in Z-Freak. He's going to break the smoke, but they make the jump in. The Eboys, they want to fight with a great song out from Speed to set up a nice ice path. They drop the Will-O-Wisp onto 3 heroes. They are trying to get away, but I Annihilate immediately bursted down by Speed. Meanwhile, Z-Freak trying to fight this one out. Boris jumps in. There goes Albino Zebra, but Boris, he's dropping very quick to Speed's damage. The MKB doing its work already. Boris gets Rod of A tossed up, still making the blink strike in, does kill off AA, is still on the run, gets the blur off as well, and he just dispels everything as he just TPs in front of Speed's face. Disgusting stuff with that Aghanim Scepter.
You gotta love it. Like, he was jumping in and out. It was still a fairly good trade for Eboys on paper. They got I Annihilate for 2 supports. They got a core for their troubles. Pretty big pickup there for Eboys, all things considered. And unfortunate for TOOBASED, they just took a fight without monkeys. They need monkeys up front. They need him to be disruptive. Without him, the fights are a lot harder to take. Boris right now, I think, does need a little bit more lifesteal. Like, the Paladin Sword gives you a nice amount. You really want something to sustain yourself a little bit more, considering how much the Naga Siren has been doing just in raw right clicks. The Riptide flying through is kind of painful as well for a PA. Very glass cannon-y build for Boris, so probably going to need a additional source of sustain here.
I doubt he'll get it though, John. The Eye of Skadi there on speed as well as the Spirit Vessel on Mio. I feel like he just doesn't have an option here with lifesteal. He probably just has to go for that glass cannon. I'm still waiting for the Divine Rapier, and I think we are getting into that territory now as you are running out of slots. He is going to eventually lose his Aegis, and there will be a slot available where his treads used to be. Props to Z-Freak as well, John. He got a gem up now, which has been a real, it's been a real problem, the detection game for simply TOOBASED. These Glimmer Capes are really paying off a lot for Eboys. But now with Z-Freak with that gem, he won't have too many issues being able to just kind of follow in and get that true sight going. There's that Divine Rapier queued up now. Boris is Mio. He's going to jump in straight onto Empyrean. They want that Witch Doctor dead, but he's not dead yet. The Astral is going to come in pretty clutch. Now the roll in is going to be there from Z-Freak with the Magnetize, but the Song is out from Speed. Can they set up? The Silence is there on Albino, but the Flicker is going to dispel that Silence into a 3-man Ice Path and the Macro Pyre. They'll get Eye Annihilate, but Boris, he's going to jump in onto Mio. Mio is getting bursted down and does go down as Z-Freak controls the rest of them on the Earth Spirit. And Boris just crits down the Jakiro in one hit. Giant, he tries to Dark Rift out, but Monkeys forever. It's just way too much damage. And now Boris is there onto the Naga Siren. That'll be Speed going down. And Z-Freak is looking for the last one, and he has found him. Double A trying to escape with the Glimmer Cape. Z-Freak only 1 stone left to use. Double A. Oh, he spotted him for a second. Tries to TB, but you've got the roll there from Z-Freak. Thing is, Z-Freak doesn't really have much help. Empyrean is finally going to come in. Boulder Smash and Silence is there into the Aeon Disc being procced. Double A still trying to run away. And while all this is happening, the mid-tier 3 is going down, and there is a Divine Rapier now available on Boris. But I can't help but just watch the chase onto Double A as Z-Freak just says screw it eventually. Just leaves it be. Where's our Divine Rapier? I saw Boris buy one. I believe it might just be on the courier.
Yeah, he's just pocketing it in the back, wanting to be safe. They don't need it for the siege, so they're just going to take these objectives. No risky plays here. TOOBASED being very calculated in how they approach the high ground as the Song comes in.
Yeah, they only caught one. They'll have to just settle for the Timbersaw. Monkeys is eventually going to die, but Double A actually ended up going down. I didn't realize they were still chasing that poor Keeper of the Light. And Z-Freak finally gets him, as Monkeys Forever does also die. But it is kind of hilarious that Z-Freak actually chased him down that whole time. Just not giving up. A man of commitment, John.
Yeah, and you know, that gave them that high ground push. Like, not having the Kotl there to de-push these waves. Ooh. That Remnant was right on the edge, but not having Kotl to de-push the waves made it so that you had no way of stopping that push. So they lose 2 tier 3s, they lose 1 melee Rax. TOOBASED now with a 23k lead, and Speed losing his net worth advantage. 30k on the Naga, 32k on the PA. The investment onto Speed now not quite shaping up the way you'd want to here for the side of Eboys. Even Z-Freak has Radiance now.
I mean, why not? Like, they're just making it so it's impossible to hit this PA. I can't really falter, like, criticize his build. If you can afford Radiance on an Earth Spirit, why the hell not? We are 47 minutes into the game almost. Mind you, there is a Divine Rapier on Boris as well, which he did transfer from the Courier now, so you're kind of already all in on that Divine. If Boris dies and Speed picks that up, it could be quite a problem. So you may as well just commit all the way. See if you can make this work. So they're going to go for the big smoke up. Apparently Speed just bought treads. I think that might have been a bit of a misclick. He is going for a moonshot. Roshan is going to be up, and it is going to be scouted out by Z-Freak. Nobody from Electronic Boys are around to contest this, and with that Divine Rapier, it is not going to take very long, let me tell you.
Oh yeah. This is going to be scary as well. You've got the refresh on hand, so I Annihilate potentially with 2 Santis Eclipses, or at least 2 Astral Imprisonments without the Ags. A lot of control can fly out here, a lot of damage as well. And this is going to make the next fight really difficult for Eboys. Like, they have to ensure that if they are forcing this fight, their execution needs to be on point, the song from Speed needs to be ready, the ice pat needs to be lined up there for Albino Zebra for them to follow up. And if they kill off at least, I think, again, if you kill off monkeys, it makes it awkward for the rest of TOOBASED to just kind of come in. I'd say at this point, though, you probably want to take care of I Annihilate as well. So taking care of those 2 cores, or one of those cores plus a support, should allow Eboys some leeway in finding some follow-up. But TOOBASED are not scared anymore. They are just smoked up and just going to keep running down that mid.
Yeah, that they are. Love that Timbersaw shard. Always a bit of fun to watch. Good old flamethrower. Up toward the top lane, Mio did spot him or show himself on the creep wave, and looks like he may just get caught, and does. I Annihilate gets aside the Vice off, but the Aeon Disc is going to save the day. Meanwhile, bot lane, the creep wave is pushing in. They just lost that tier 3 tower. TOOBASED, they're not backing off. They want to just try for this top tier 3 push. Of course, again, with that Divine Rapier, you are going to see Boris maybe just a little bit more hesitant on jumping in. Even with that Aegis, they just don't seem to want to make the play.
Yeah. They were forced to respond to that bot push as well, so Z-Freak did have to TP down. They are down 1 hero for this fight. It's a bit of an awkward spot now for TOOBASED. Don't really want to force anything big with their numbers disadvantage for that split push, so a bit more of a wait. Don't want to wait too long. They still have a lot of time on that Aegis, but you want to start hammering in a few more objectives. Maybe take at least the bot melee racks to ensure that your bot wave is always going to be shoved in. That could help the cause here for TOOBASED if they can find that objective easily.
We'll see. Speed going for the Aghanim Scepter upgrade on the Naga. Very interesting stuff. I think that still is the that huge heal during the song, if I'm not incorrect.
They changed it. It's the Ensnare. Ensnare just goes on to spell immune targets and sleeping units. So you can use it really easily during song. And Ensnare cooldowns down by 5. Cast range up as well. So a little bit more utility. That could cause issues for the PA in the middle, say, while she's BKB'd up in song. That's going to be a bit nasty to fight into. And could complicate matters for the approach into the high ground. So you're seeing the...
Uh-oh. I think we've lost John. I believe he's back. John, are you
Okay.
back?
Yes. And
the fight's breaking out right now. They've just jumped in straight onto Speed. Speed is dropping very low on that Naga. Is he going to go down? It looks like he will. He is dead without buyback. Onto Mio. The Void Spirit also gone. And this game is looking to be over as Boris just slicing and dicing them up. They'll buy back. There'll be one last team fight. But they're going to have to do this without their position 1. Speed's buyback is still on cooldown, and now the dagger's flying out. The damage is just insane through the daggers. Giant's gonna die. A dieback on him. Sanity's being dropped. They want to dive the fountain, but the GG has been called. Speed has had enough. They'll jump in one last time, but there's gonna be more kills going out towards Boris on the PA. And I gotta be honest, John, this was a much closer matchup than I first anticipated. But game 1 does go the way of simply TOOBASED.
Yeah, it took a lot more effort to pierce that high ground, but Boris just caught up. He got his items up. I think the stall out on his Ags was really the key point for Electronic Boys to get that little bounce back in, especially around a fight onto Roche. It was just the fact that they found a courier. Beyond that, simply TOOBASED just kind of found that running start speed. I mean, he went for that Manta into the Butterfly, into the Scotty. I think maybe if we saw the MKB a bit earlier on, it might have helped out in bursting down Boris while he was a bit weaker. We'll see if that sort of build-up changes up for Electronic Boys, and if TOOBASED can keep that momentum up. Have to say as well, Boris had like what? 3 double damage runes in this game at key fights. Like that's
a lot.
That's pretty ridiculous to have. I'm
Yeah.
wondering if how Boris does it. Like that's some pro gaming right there.
He had one in the last team fight, which is why the damage was just so insane when he was just throwing out stifling daggers. Just got a bottle and bottled up a DD and made the high ground push with his team. Nevertheless, Sean, that is game 1. Of course, this is a best of 3 series, and we'll see if Electronic Boys can force this to a game number 3. We're going into game number 2's draft in about 10 minutes. For now, it's MLP Dota and JohnXFire. We'll see you all again very, very soon for that game 2 draft.